Hey everybody, today I wanted to just give you a quick email and just tell you and show you how your brain stress responds. As first responders, we always go through high stress, high stakes situations. And when you can begin to understand how the stress trauma impacts your brain, you're going to be able to do things within your life. You're going to be able to correct the way that you're looking at situations and focus on tactical breathing, focus on different kind of techniques to lower that stress level and to have each situation mean something different and create that within your life. So today I just wanted to pop you a quick email and just let you know about this training and how, So meet your brain's stress system. So there's three parts of the brain that really affect us during a mental health situation, right? You got the amygdala, you got the prefrontal cortex, you got the hippocampus, right? So the amygdala's main function is it's the brain's alarm system. So whenever anything happens in your life, you got fight, flight, freeze response, you need to react, that's your amygdala jumping in. Now your prefrontal cortex, this is what makes the decision. Am I going to run? Am I going to freeze or am I going to fight? And this is what, impulses that and regulates that emotional logical thinking or that impulse control, right? Someone scares you, you jump and run, right? That's your amygdala firing, saying something scary, and then your prefrontal cortex jumping in going, I need to get out of here. And then the hippocampus is your memory, right? It helps you process and store experiences. So when we're suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder, our mind is an overflow, like the amygdala grows, and that's what causes us post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, part of it, right? So your hippocampus reminds us of situations that we've had to run from before and goes, oh my gosh, I remember the situation at this one specific place, this happened. So any type of trigger, it could be a noise, could be anything. Let's say for a situation, you respond as a firefighter or even a police officer, you go to a house, right? There's either maybe a domestic dispute, maybe there's a fire that a child has passed, maybe in the domestic dispute, there's firearms involved. So now you get a call to this house and your mind is going to remind you of those events. Your hippocampus is going to remind you of those events, and you're going to be like, you're going to start stressing about what could happen if you go to that house. Even though nothing may happen, you're reminded from this, and then your prefrontal cortex will put the decision making, and then your amygdala, which is on high alert, is going to go, I can't go to that house. And this is the way your brain stem stress team works. Right? I just talked about this. The amygdala sends a distress signal. The hippocampus activates the atomic nervous system, your adrenaline, increases your heart rate, rapid breathing, heightened alertness, and then your cortisol sustains that energy and focus. And then your prefrontal cortex, the logical thinking, it's not even there anymore. And you're going to be in that survival mode. Because that's what we're always focused on. We're always focused on getting to that next. Saving our lives. Our first response to anything is always to save our lives. So when stress becomes the main focus, right? So your amygdala has become overactive. It's leading to these heightened anxiety. If I go to this place or if this situation happens, I'm going to freak out, right? And then your prefrontal cortex, it reduces, right? Your decision making is limited. Your impulse control is limited because you're so focused on that heightened fear and anxiety that this can't take place. And then your memory, your actual memory of what happened shrinks, right? And it's going to affect that memory. Well, what happened? Well, this and this happened, which may not have actually happened, but your mind needs to fill in the blanks of what it thinks would happen. What a rational sequence would be is how your mind creates that memory in your mind. And this is what causes that confusion state and you to kind of keep playing scenarios in your head that may not be exactly how the scenario went. So some of the unique stressors that we face as law enforcement, as first responders, as we're out there in the line of duty. We're constantly exposed to those life-threatening situations. It's part of our job to run in when people are running out, right? And sometimes you could finish a call and then your alarm goes off again and you're heading right to the next one. So there's a lack of that recovery time to recoup, to kind of meditate over this, to journal about it. You don't have that time sometimes within your shift. You move on to the next call. I'm sure we've all faced those situations where it's back to back to back and we're always dealing with something. And then you have that emotional toll when you witness a traumatic or a loss. You know, we all have those events, those situations within our careers that we face something and it's weighed us down and we haven't had that time to reflect. So I want to give you some ways here on how to combat that stress and to protect your brain, because that's what this is all about. We're all trying to protect ourselves. So mindfulness training, I talked about that, calming that amygdala and strengthening the prefrontal cortex. That's what you do when you do any meditation, things like that, is you're calming your fight, flight, or freeze, and then you're strengthening that decision making. And that's where it's going to create that. That's why, you know, one of the things to do is to force yourself into situations where you're going to fight, flight, or freeze in a protected environment. That's why during police training, during fire training, they run you into those situations. They put you into those high stress situations, because what you're doing is you're training your amygdala so that when you're actually faced that, you have a reaction. You have that memory in your prefrontal cortex, in your hippocampus to create that memory of what you're going to do in that situation. Regular exercise. Doing simple 15-20-minute exercise a day is going to boost brain function and it's going to reduce that cortisol. Quality sleep. I know as shift workers we struggle with this, but you have to really create that routine within your home where you're going to get that, because it's going to be essential for memory recovery. It's going to be essential for that emotional regulation. We all know that when we're tired, we're irritable. So if you're getting enough sleep, then you're going to be able to kind of combat that a little bit. And then peer support and debriefing, right? Talking to people that know what you're going through is going to assist you in becoming that next level. And then seeking professional help. When you hit a point, sometimes we hit that point where we need to talk to a therapist or counseling. There's nothing shame in asking for help. There's no shame in going to these. But when you get to that point, my friends, my brothers, my sisters, please go get the help you need. Don't push yourself over the edge. So when do you know when to take action? When is it, right? When do you call that therapist? When do you go to that counseling? Maybe even just peer support, right? Difficulty concentrating or making decisions. Maybe within your shift, you're like, your response time is a little slow, right? This can be definitely a time to seek help, right? Feeling hypervigilant or easily startled, right? Are you jumping or certain situations? Trouble sleeping or persistent fatigue. If you're only sleeping like 1 to 2 hours a night because you're having flashbacks or you're having, these nightmares that people sometimes have, right? Emotional numbness, you just don't care anymore. Or maybe you just don't want to go out, don't want to leave your house. Maybe you're irritable. Maybe you're quick to anger, quick to sadness, right? These things are kind of that trigger for you to say, okay, look, I'm at a place right now. I need to get help. I need to go see the surgeon and get some real surgery done on my mind, and not physically, but mentally, and get that help I need. But empower yourself, right? This is what I'm doing here, is I'm trying to give you that knowledge and just to have this in your mind and say, yeah, I can get through this. I know what I need to do within my life. Because when you understand your brain and you understand how things work, this is going to be a step towards our resilience, right? If you didn't know that your amygdala, shrinks when goes big when you're in a stressful situation to protect you, and then your prefrontal cortex shrinks because your logic goes out the window, and your decision making because, number one, you're trying to protect yourself. And that's the way it works, right? Explore those resources. Find things that are work for you, right? Watch our video. Download our infographic to get deeper, right? I'll have a link below or a link in this email for our resource page. I have so many resources on there. I have more courses coming out, more PDFs. I develop these things basically on a weekly basis to try to kind of create this. I'm going to have live webinars, live seminars. Just keep following these and keep understanding, and know that the more knowledge you feed yourself, the better equipped you're going to be resilient. And you're not alone, right? You are not alone, my brothers. You're not alone, my sisters, right? Your role is vital, but so is your well-being. I am here for you. There's peers that know you, that are there for you, right? And supporting your brain is the key to sustaining a fulfilling career. Do you love your job? Do you love getting up and doing what you're doing? If not, I'd suggest you go find something else, because life is quite short, and when you do something you don't like, it's not enjoyable. We work most of our lives, so you may as well do something you enjoy. But don't let your past and situations in your life hinder how to be an effective first responder. Work on yourself so that you can be effective, right? Like when you first started, when you were eager to get into the job, when you were eager to do this, that's when you want to create that. And reach out, right? I'm always here to listen, right? Find more tools. Email me. The emails always respond to this email. I will respond when I can. And I want to be here for you. So don't do this alone. And I hope this helped. I hope this gave you a little bit of guidance. So stay safe, stay strong, and keep striving towards a thriving life beyond the badge.